We're back here on Hack City. I'm Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, two former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Today, we are going to be recapping the crazy action that happened during week one of college football. And specifically, you know that we're talking first about what shocked the world, Colorado's massive win over TCU. I have already apologized and said I was wrong. Going to probably end up rehashing some other things that we talked about last week leading up to the game. We're also going to get to Utah versus Florida, UNC versus South Carolina, and then just some general takeaways from the week. Sean, how are we doing today?
Doing good. I found myself in a conundrum this weekend. I tried to take in all of the college football that I could, and I think I did a good job. Okay. But I kind of have an ethics question, right?
Oh, no, I am not the person to ask an ethics question.
I'm aware.
Go ahead, though.
But when you're – okay. You go over for cookout, college football, game day type thing. We're going to have multiple TVs going. We're going to have some chicken going, some beers flowing. You know, the boys are getting together watching college football. All of that's good. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you're gambling on the games a little bit. You're throwing some money down. At what point do you have to prioritize the better game over the game that other people have gambled on the TV? Because we had TCU Colorado going at noon, and on the bottom, Ole Miss Mercer. Because people had gambled on Ole Miss covering against Mercer, not on them. So at what point are you like, hey, and it's not your house, not your house, you don't have it.
Okay, let me ask you: is one TV? Is it one TV
two
that
TVs,
was going on?
Two TVs, one above, one below. Two good TVs also. I'll give them credit.
Look, if it's Ole Miss versus Mercer, that's a game that you pull up on your phone. If you're worried about them not covering, that's one that you put up on your phone. You're not making the rest of the group watch the game. I will say though, during that noon slate, there weren't really that many other.
There weren't a ton.
Good. I forget what I was watching on my. I had like the quad box going on the second TV, so like I wasn't really focused on any of the other games, but I will be the first to admit I had the games that I was betting on, even though they were crappy football games, prioritized on that quad box. Like I'm not gonna. I don't know. That's a tough
It's weird,
one.
right? Because I prefer to bet on games that I know I'm going to watch. That I know.
No, I'm not. No, I don't do that at all.
Oh, I say if this is going to be a good game, this is what I can like, because I can lock in on it, and I don't feel like I'm a burden for wanting to check in on the game that I bet on. Because if it's my house, I'm on cable, I can just flip back, check scores, do what I need to do. But when you're people that you don't really know that well, some people you do know well, when do you kind of like, I don't want to Larry David the situation, be like, what are you doing? Why are we watching that? Oh, you gambled on it. I didn't gamble on it. Why are we watching it?
Okay, but so there's two sides. What was the line even on Ole Miss versus Mercer?
Oh, I'm sure it was 40s.
They won 73-7. If you know that game is in the bag, like turn that off the TV. Let's
blowout game, blowout big spread bet. I don't think you should watch it. I personally don't think that should be on one of the main TVs and it's a fine bet to take. Take your big line bets. If you're an Ohio State fan, you won a 30.5 against Indiana, take that bet. But that doesn't mean we're going to watch the blowout.
Final verdict before we get to the read and then eventually get into the actual football. And I'm curious, our audience is kind of slowly fading in because we just started the show. Anyone who wants to drop a comment, your thoughts on this, I'm curious. You only switch to the game that's bet on unless your bet is in jeopardy of not hitting. So like if the game is a good example, Illinois versus Toledo, we both bet that didn't hit. I would have said, guys, we got to put this game on the TV. Like we need to see what happens at the end of this game. That's the only situation that is allowed. It's the two best games on the TVs. There's too many people at the house. Was it somebody whose house it was that they put the game on? Is that what this is?
Kind of like one of the.
Was it your idiot roommates?
There? No, not my idiot roommates. No.
Okay.
Just other people that like college football and don't like soccer, which I've been dealing with that all weekend. But like last night, right? We went to another place where there was only one TV, but UNC South Carolina was on that TV, and taking a bet on Illinois Toledo. I didn't say we need to check on Illinois Toledo, and I thought that was selfless. That's not the bigger game though. I think for the community as a whole watching the game, the best game should be on the TV. not the game that you have action on. If it's a
now,
bad
if you had YouTube TV, you could have watched that game on your phone like an adult, but
I have
you don't.
cable.
And
Cable's better.
you're a loser. You're a loser. We're talking about betting, though. Can you share with our listeners, though, very quickly, a word from our sponsor, that being BetOnline? BetOnline, I took some money from BetOnline this weekend. I came out plus $15. I had a pretty good weekend.
I had a lot of bets going. I think I came out positive. I'm pretty certain I came out positive. I just some were just bad judgment calls. Baylor they're never touching Baylor. I'm not going to yell about it.
You bet against GJ Kinney? Oh,
dude, I had a 15 team
you're
parlay.
the worst.
I had a massive favorites parlay for week 1, which I always do. Baylor just screwed it for me.
Okay,
but it is what it is. And if you want to do that, you want to have a good weekend like me and Joe, I'm sure we'll replicate it next weekend. Our immense success. BetOnline, your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and now football. We're in the swing of it. We're betting on football. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Saw a guy actually at the function play a BetOnline casino game while college football was on. He said, I'm just going to play a blackjack hand. I'm like, what?
That guy's awesome. I love that guy.
Like, what do we do? Yeah. like, all right, man. I guess the juice is flowing and people want to get some action. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus in your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
That's awesome. Also, really just a quick random side stupid thought. Do you ever, I came subject to this. I placed, I feel like I do this every couple of weeks. I placed a double bet on a team. I accidentally placed the same bet twice. And then I was really sweating that Western Kentucky game. That's a side point I want to bring up there. All right, let's talk about.
I've done that in UFC and boxing. I have not done that in football.
Let's talk about this Colorado TCU game. I actually was shocked. You're on the Yahoo show that you produce. One of your best bets of the week was Colorado to cover, and you're doing the Pat McAfee bit. I respect it. You were all in. Look, I want to start this off by saying I already did a video on this and got a lot of traction. A lot of people don't believe me saying this, but I have always been on Coach Prime. I have always been on what he can do and help revamp this program, because we on this show have been covering him since he started at Jackson State. And we were excited for what he was able to do early on, him bringing in Travis Hunter, him bringing in both of his sons. The way that he transformed the program and also got national attention on them has been massive. And we spent a lot of time this offseason talking about, like, hey, if Coach Prime turns this thing around, he is going to be an attraction for recruits to be able to say, look, if maybe we are a little slow to get going, but if you want all the attention in the world and you want to build a brand for yourself, Colorado is the place to do it. I, though, made a bad take this week, despite being a supporter of Coach Prime. I, like a lot of people, said playing against the team that was in the national championship game, got all these transfers coming in, having a lot of issues along the offensive defensive line, not having a ton of developed experience size. There's a good chance that the score gets run up on them. They hushed any concerns that I had. And I think I've listened to a couple of different shows that I frequently tune into. All the people that said negative things turned around and said, hey, look, we were wrong. They really, really proved us wrong, that he can get that job done. And my main takeaway from this, Sean, he is such a damn good coach. The way that he got that team to stick together late in the game, to finish drives, put points on the board in heat that they're probably not used to in that Texas heat, and to be well-conditioned enough, especially Travis Hunter, to finish that football game, massive props. That was one of the craziest football games that I've ever watched.
It was, and I was actually texting Miles Ross. I've been talking to him a lot during the season.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, we're blessed to have this as the big noon kickoff week 1. It was a blessing to be sitting there drinking, watching that game, and just being like, wow, it just lit the world on fire. And if you don't like it, then you don't like college football, because now we have a true excitement from a program that you haven't had excitement for. It's more exciting than when Cincinnati was good, by miles. Luke Fickell's cool. Luke Fickell's got good energy. He's not Coach Prime, though. He's not DeLeone Sanders, who just sound everything that he says into a microphone is gold. It's gold. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it. Whether you're fine with him saying you didn't believe in us, and you wrote us off to the journalists that are asking their questions. I have mixed feelings about that, but I know it's good for the sport. I know it's good for college football. I'm certain that he makes this season more exciting. And how much egg is on the face of the teams that didn't hire him? How are you sitting there as an AD or a coach or a team like, wow, what did we do? Who do we have? If you're not Georgia or Alabama, you're kind of like, look what they did. Look what they did with concerns, not detriments, but there were concerns about the trenches. There were concerns about what happens when all the FCS players move to the FBS. There were concerns and questions. But boy, do you just go out there and prove them wrong against an established, borderline elite coach in Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes, great coach, and got beat.
So this is the really thing. You're kind of hitting the nail on the head here. There are a lot of aspects of this game that I want to talk about, and we're probably going to dominate the time on the show talking about this game. But the coaching and the decision-making by Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator, was fantastic.
Yeah.
One, to set up and call plays that deliberately put your athletes in space. Like, let's get Travis Hunter, who's a contested catch weapon, who can come down with the football no matter how much pressure's on him. Let's put him in these one-on-one spots, go up, get the football. He's going to come down with it. We're going to trust our guys. But the biggest thing here, and that I was really, really impressed by, is that Shedeur is just a really quick decision maker. That to me is one thing that is not talked about enough with quarterbacks, and a trait that I think a lot of people don't understand. Does not come easy to be able to just immediately see that there is soft pressure on a guy in the slot, and then he's going to be coming across the middle of the field, to know the ball's coming out as soon as this ball gets into my hand, and I'm delivering it to him, and I'm going to pick up 5-7 yards. It doesn't need to be a 15-yard gain. You just keep chipping away. The run game was not there because their offensive line, they were tired parts of that game. And again, inexperienced.
They were going incredibly up-tempo.
Oh, my God.
I mean, the two teams in the first quarter, it was F1 race. That's what it was. Everybody was moving fast. But you, again, nail on the head. Athletes in space. And, God, some of the plays in the flats, just to the running backs, just at the goal line, I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure Shedeur was working out with Tom Brady. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady said, I lasted 22 years, 23 years, whatever it was in the league, by hitting my running backs in the flats, by saying, oh, there's Kevin Falk. You know what he's going to do? Get a first down, score a touchdown. It doesn't always have to be the home run ball, but he threw the home run ball well. He threw it well. He underthrew one in the first quarter, and but there was one right in the breadbasket, right for Travis Hunter. Didn't come down with it. It is what it is. Impressive. I was impressed with Colorado, and God, sky's the limit, right? Sky's the limit. What happened?
Well, yeah. Well, the sky is the limit. I think realistically, this team, I mean, like there was, I forget who it was. Somebody, I think it was PFF, total impression bait posting, how many wins are they going to have this year? You saw the graphic that has their schedule on it. Actually, I think I'm throwing a stray at PFF. I think it was ESPN College Football that posted it.
Oh, sure.
If you look at their schedule, I think realistically, because they play Oregon State, USC, Utah, and Oregon, I believe.
Yeah. It's not a cakewalk.
It's not. It's a hard schedule. They can get to 8 wins, I think, is the absolute ceiling for this season. And I think that's accomplishable. But what I'm a little bit worried about is, does that lack of depth catch up to them later on in the season? And here's the biggest thing. My camera is about to die. I completely forgot to change the battery. Just pick it up from there.
Sure. Yeah. Here's the thing. If Colorado gets 6 wins, it's a massive achievement for the program. They were competing with the likes of UVA and any of the bottom feeders in college football, competing with them for being the worst last year. You get 6 wins this year, throw a parade, throw a celebration, because you have completely flipped the script on your entire football program. That gets more funding. I don't care about the funding. That gets more investment. That gets more interest from players, even better recruits. And I don't know, there's good recruiters. DeLeone Sanders might be the best right now to be able to take a team that had a bunch of skells, no offense, former skell speaking, but a bunch of Skells, replace them with the Louis, you got something moving. You really got something, and you have momentum. And God, good for Colorado, who now I care about Colorado. Now I care about America's team, the Colorado Buffaloes.
See, I think that's the funny way of putting it. It kind of is America's team. This is the program that like everybody's now excited and rooting for, that everyone's going to be super focused on. And here's the other kind of like last piece of this that I want to talk about. I tweeted this, and I don't know if it's a step too far. Is this me being too hot takey? Am I doing the whole over exaggeration bit after one game? If Travis Hunter finishes the season and doesn't miss any games, I think that, first of all, they need to pull back the amount of snaps. The guy can't play 120 snaps a game. That is unsustainable, the amount of hits. He's going to have to not practice the whole week because that is way too much contact to be dealing with. If he can do like 90 snaps a game and he can exceed 80 or so receiving yards and kind of be in that rough range of production that he had as a receiver, get some more interceptions to finish the season, he will be at the Heisman podium. I don't know if he can beat out Caleb Williams if he keeps playing the way that he is, or Michael Penix, because it is just always going to be a quarterback award.
And if they're good, they look very good too.
Right. Unless there are no quarterbacks, like when Devonta Smith won it or when Derrick Henry won it, unless there's no quarterbacks, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. But the guy is going to be at the podium. He's going to be at the podium. And maybe even Shedeur could be in that conversation as well, in that top 10 of players in consideration this year, if not at the very least next year. I am only excited to see how the results continue to pan out for this team.
I would say you're being hot takey, but it was a mass flood of overreaction yesterday. And that's fine, because that's what college football is. When we title our shows on Monday and Sunday? Week 1 overreaction. That's what it's going to be titled. And it is an overreaction because that's what we're supposed to do, because it's fun and it's crazy and it's bonkers. And
it'd suck if we came on here and we're like, here's this really mild take.
Yeah, no.
I want to freak out. It's college football. This is the stupidest sport that's ever been played because of the craziness that can occur. I want to overreact.
You're not the only one. And Travis Hunter lit the world on fire and played up to what he's been billed. How many players get billed super high and go out and do fine? A ton. You get build up like that from all the praise from a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best. You could put him a top 10 NFL player of all time, saying, yeah, he is him. He is the dude. And you go out and you are the dude. What? Yeah, you can be considered for the Heisman. You can be. You could be projected week 1 to be, you might be on that podium. You really might be. There's too much. You proved it. You proved enough. You proved enough to set expectations for week 2.
The craziest thing about this, though, and I did a radio spot, and somebody, the radio host, asked me this. Shut up. I did it on Saturday, right after the game, and he asked me this. And he was saying, "Yeah, right. I'm only good enough to be a weekend guest. I'm not a weekday guest like I used to be." But the question
you're in there,
right? Exactly. I'm not there yet as a college football host. The question that was asked to me was, can he do this in the NFL? Can he play both sides of the football? My gut answer was no. I think eventually he's going to be a defensive back and he's going to get brought onto the field, and we're going to throw him some screen passes. We're going to get him on every so often. He's going to return kicks, but for the most part, he is going to be a defensive back and an elite defensive back, just because NFL teams are so protective of players. And when you're paying them all that money, you don't want them to be on the field too much and to get hurt. But at the same time, I have no precedent, and we're both way too young to sit here and say, I have never seen this before. But as somebody who loves the history of college football and reads a lot about the history of college football, there's never been anyone who's done anything close to this. Charles Woodson's been brought up, but like,
Troy Brown. I mean, he did that a little bit for the Pats. He played a little bit of DB, or maybe that was just one time. I don't know. Well,
the other one that I thought of was Miles Jack was the one that I thought of. Not in the NFL.
Yeah,
in college.
I mean, players switch positions a lot. I mean, Aaron Parker came in as a linebacker and was a first-team All-CAA wide receiver. Jim Kelly started as a linebacker and became one of the best quarterbacks in Buffalo Bills history, just because he threw a ball back really hard in practice one day. Football's kind of fluid in that spot. Unless you're 6'8", 300 pounds, 6'8", 300 pounds. Unless you're that big.
Who's that a reference to?
The stupid Oliver Anthony song, that one that took over. Yeah, unless you're just one of the monsters is in the trenches, it's kind of a little bit fluid, and that's what's cool. It's cool, and that's a kind of a niche thing for college football where you have quarterbacks running the read option like crazy. You have the triple option sometimes. NFL, that's kind of where you get a little more structured. But I mean, look me in the eyes and tell me you don't think that he could catch a slant on third down and take it 40 yards after breaking a tackle. And that could be, he could just be a little gimmicky. DeLeone played some off. DeLeone played offense in the Super Bowl.
Well, that was what I brought up. I said that realistically, he can do what DeLeone did, where he returned kicks. He came onto the field as an offensive weapon occasionally, but it can't be a both sides of the ball every down thing like he did in this game. And he can't do that the rest of the season. Again, that is unsustainable. The human body can't deal with that much contact. I mean, we shortened the games literally for the purpose that guys weren't going to get as many reps. And here we are. Travis Hunter said, "F that. I'm going to play as much as I want to." Any final thoughts before we flip the page to Utah versus Florida?
I mean, it seems like we might be getting a rescheduling of ESPN Game Day. It feels like we're going to have to pass on you and get to Boulder. That's what I think. Week 1, I wouldn't count it out. I don't think they have. I don't know if they do or don't, but it wouldn't shock me if Colorado was hosting a big Pac-12 team and they said, we got to go to this. We have to. It's too big. We can't miss it. So they're making headlines.
Do you think they get ranked by one of the polls? I think that someone overreacts and puts them at 25.
I said yesterday when it was still maybe right when it closed, I was talking to 2 goobers on the couch, and I said, you know what? I think that a lot of voters are going to be too proud to rank them this first week. But if they win next week and they start off 2-0,
dude, they're going to kick shit out of Nebraska. Nebraska sucks. I'm taking them to cover. That's going to be one of my bets this week. And
okay.
I need to get on that actually right now. I might do that in the middle of the game or in the middle of this show. That's actually a really good point.
If you're 2-0 and you put on 2 really good performances, go ahead. Who's better? Why would you keep them off? Why would you? They beat TCU with a great coach, and if they beat Nebraska and and we're talking about them beating Nebraska preseason, we're sitting here thinking a lot of pundits, Matt Rule might really be a problem for him, and now we might be ranked. They might be ranked. Rank them. Do it. Rank them. If they go 2-0, rank them. They won't be ranked this year, I think, or this week. Too much pride.
Colin doesn't like Deion Sanders. We're just going to move past that.
Sure.
That's a shame, Colin. I don't know how you can't like Deion. That's a shame. That's a real shame, Colin.
Bums me out. He's good for college football. If you're a college football fan, you should be all in on him.
Utah versus Florida.
Oh.
This game played out exactly as I predicted. I hit I got my bet. The checks cleared. My bet hit. But this played out exactly as I talked about. I mentioned that Graham Mertz might look better during practice, that he might be an improved player in a better situation. But this Florida team was going to be way too young. It was going to be way too young and inexperienced to go up against one of the best coached teams in all of college football, one of the most physical teams in all of college football. And that showed up because Graham Mertz played pretty well. It's the first time that he's ever thrown for over 300 yards. But we saw so many mistakes, false starts. There was that stupid punt return penalty that happened where 2 guys were wearing the same number that eventually led to a momentum-building touchdown for Utah. Look, Florida's not going to be good this year. Florida fans, you just need to acknowledge it. They're not going to be good this year. I'm really optimistic for the future outlook, though, because I think that at a certain point, that recruiting is going to build up enough quality players that they will be good in 2024. But yeah, I think that Utah looked pretty strong despite dealing with all those injuries.
Yeah, Utah, without a starting quarterback, also said, "Come on out to the mountains, and we're just going to beat the hell out of you for 4 quarters." Physical is, and I try not to do generic reactionary tweets, like, "Oh, wow, what a catch!" Like I try not to, but that night I had to put out a generic one. I said, "Utah is thumping these boys. They are going crazy tackling,
Yeah.
swarm tackling." I thought you tweeted out a video of a safety for Utah.
Cole Bishop.
I thought he was a linebacker. I thought he was their middle linebacker.
He's like their big safety that they line up down, down in the
Where's
box.
his cowboy collar? He needs one. I'm like, what do they got going there? What are they on trend? What do they? Why are they this fired up? They were.
The performance enhancing drugs accusation. What?
I couldn't believe they were just merciless. And that's my football. Also, go out there, start hitting people. It was great. It was great. Utah put on. It wasn't a good show, but man, if you like football, you like this Utah team. Florida was just not ready for it. Florida was not ready to go take the flight, be in the altitude, get punched in the mouth like that. They weren't, and they lost.
No, okay. So you hit the really important part here. Forget all the physicality stuff showed, but that first drive, the splash play, and I know it was close for like a little bit at the beginning of this game, but you saw them just starting to really grind them out. And having watched games, I'm not in the trenches like you were as an offensive lineman, but like having been on the sideline watching games that are physical and you're just running the ball, and we ran the ball a lot in college.
Yeah,
you could start to see a team that's just like, oh, we're coming at you. Like we're really going to grind you out.
Get me. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this.
But that's what Florida's defense looked like. It looked like that they were just getting beat to shit on every single play. And eventually you just kind of look like they're getting popped up. They're just a lot of young guys. And that's like a really rude awakening, showing up for a bunch of dudes from Utah. And you're just like, oh, okay. I thought this little ass stadium.
You're talking about like they're raiders in the Appalachian Mountains.
No, but in all seriousness, like you clown on like Utah, like these guys are all from. They go skiing. Like I'm scared of these guys. And then
you hear the
show up
banjos,
like,
you better turn around.
Yeah. But it's like you show up and you're like, oh my God, these guys mean business. They have nothing else going on but hitting each other during practice for 2 hours and then leaving the field. That's what you got. You showed up and had to go up against. And I think the epitome of that is Jaquindon Jackson's like a tank the way that he's built their star running back. And you just talked about Cole Bishop. The two guys who took over this game and Nate Johnson, they're running everybody. Everybody's getting run over by the skill players. There was no speed. There's no like, I'm going to juke you out. I'm going to cook you. It's no, I'm going to run through a motherfucker's face. That was the mentality that I got from Utah. And maybe Florida fans, you don't want to acknowledge that.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing for Florida. It's tough to open the game the way that they did. That long 70-yard touchdown to Money Parks, or who was it that caught the
Money Parks?
Yeah, Money Parks. You open the game like that, some teams, and it's a lot of teams, you get a 70 bomb dropped on your first play from scrimmage, or tough. That is a deflating play. Great play for Utah. If you can, that's why you're sitting here. Why'd they take a big shot first play of the game? To crush the other team's will. That's why they do it. That's why teams scheme it. So if you're wondering why on 2nd and 8 after your inside your inside draw or whatever, inside zone play, you're doing a flea flicker or a reverse double pass or just airing it out, it's for the opportunity to suck the life out of the other team and catch them asleep at the wheel early in the game, and then you have the momentum for 4 full quarters. Unless you're Illinois. And then Toledo comes.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that later in the show, but that was a fun football game, especially because it's like an "I told you so" moment. I love those "I told you so" moments. I have another "I told you so" moment as North Carolina defeats South Carolina 31-17. So this game played out almost the way that I said. Part of it was right. I was wrong because I thought that this was a take the over game. This was going to be a lot of splash plays, long touchdowns, missed assignments by both secondaries. That doesn't end up happening, Sean. Instead, Drake Maye throws 2 picks, still has a really strong game, and Spencer Rattler just gets eaten alive because he has no supporting cast. I don't know if Colin, can you pull up how many sacks there were? That's what it was.
I think there were 9. I think there were 9 sacks. Odd to have that many sacks in the opener.
Especially because North Carolina's defensive line was really bad last year. It was really, really bad last year. But the thing that I was right about, Sean, before I get your take on this, I said that this game was going to suck. This was a really I was bored watching this game. Like I legitimately was not excited. Yeah, these teams are mediocre. They're both overhyped. UNC is good enough to be ranked 24th at the end of the season, and South Carolina didn't belong being in any discussion as a ranked team. I thought that they were both very underwhelming.
I was actually enjoying the pairing of Spencer Rattler and Xavier Leggett. They have a good and I like seeing Rattler just toss it up and seeing Leggett go up and get it. Number 17 on the Gamecocks. Rattler didn't have a terrible day. 353, had 9 incompletions for constantly being under pressure and having holding calls all over the place from his offensive line. Leggett had 9 catches, 178 yards. It's cool. It's cool. I'm cool with that. That's not bad. I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it.
Do you agree with me though that neither of these teams deserve really much run? Is like considering them as contending, like they're UNC is going to be the 4th best team in the ACC.
If
plain and simple,
if UNC starts 6-0, then we can have a conversation. Is that fair?
I don't know who they play at the start of the season, but sure, we can have the conversation.
Okay. Yeah. Not a ton. Neither team really crushed the other team, but I don't know. I don't think UNC fans are terribly worried. I know some Ohio State fans that are not thrilled about their week 1 performance, that are not thrilled with Kyle McCord. You still won. And they're like, yeah, we still won. That's the point. But the optics aren't great. I think the UNC optics are fine.
Yeah, and I think that Drake, that's not a Heisman performance, throwing 2 picks, and I don't think he went over 300 yards. He had an okay game. He made a bunch of really nice throws that we're used to seeing with Drake Maye, but it wasn't the 350 yards and 5 touchdowns type game that we're kind of used to seeing from him last year. I'm not saying that there's a regression. I do want to talk about that though before we get our 2 thoughts from the weekend. I forgot to write that down in the docket, but Ohio State beats Indiana pretty easily. Like 23-3. I don't have the score in front of me, but off the top of my head. But I watched that game and I made a video about this. I think a lot of Ohio State fans agree with me, and you just brought it up. There should be a legitimate concern for the quarterback situation for Ohio State because
23-3. That's right.
Not only did Kyle McCord not throw a touchdown and throw an interception and not surpass 300 yards against Indiana, but on top of that, his 2 best receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Egbuka, didn't surpass 20 yards receiving in 5 receptions. They both combined for 30-something yards and 5 receptions. I know that Marvin Harrison Jr. went down with an injury and he kind of came back into the game, but both of them are open. Both of them are open a lot, and he's not finding them. That's weird to me, and that to me shows a guy who doesn't make a lot of good decisions, that he's hitting Cade Stover, the slow tight end, up the middle most of the times that he's throwing the football. It's a weird choice.
Do we have maybe a Kirk Cousins dynamic here, where Kirk Cousins doesn't take a lot of chances with his wideouts when they're covered? And you have wideouts that when I'm covered, I'm open. We see that there's a trust with Travis Hunter. I'm covered, but I'm open. He might not have that yet with his wideouts, and he's just going to hit TJ Hawkinson, aka Cade Stover, up the middle and end his season and just have a good completion percentage.
He should have that, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr., who was his high school teammate.
I don't know what that was. I don't know what I can only maybe. I don't know.
He sucks. I'm just gonna say it. He sucks.
We're definitely overreacting here,
dude. He can't play like that again. Look, CJ Stroud was a little slow to get going, but his first game against Minnesota and Oregon were not that bad. They were not as bad as that. He found his guys. He knew how to find his guys.
Yeah.
He can't play like that against Penn State and Michigan. They will lose those games.
Yeah. If This Ohio State fans should be nervous about opening the door for Penn State. That's what they should be nervous about. You need to be good enough to keep the door closed on little brother, or else you're little brother, and it's all over. Well, it's not all over, but you know what I'm saying.
Well,
at least for this year.
I think they're a 2-loss team this year, and they're going to be like 12. They're going to finish the season at like number 12.
That's fine. They might make it next year with a 12-team playoff, maybe. 14 doesn't look like it.
We'll have to see. Sean, I want to start implementing this when we do these live streams. 2 thoughts that we just had from the weekend that we want to bring up with all the craziness that happened. I'll let you go first. What's the first thought you have from the weekend?
Michigan is corny. That's my first thought. Your coach got suspended by the school because he broke rules. He broke recruiting rules during COVID, and the school suspended him. Your school. So the free Harbaugh and the let's do an odd formation to hold the 4 up and do all that, corny. Also, you don't play anybody in the first 3 weeks. It was supposed to be a 4-game suspension, and you're going to win. You'll be fine. You come back and you play Rutgers with them. Guess what? If you suspended for 4 games, you'd still beat Rutgers. You're corny. You're not going to make this an underdog mentality, a chip on our shoulders Michigan team because our coach did wrong. No, your coach or our coach did wrong. No, your coach did wrong. Your coach made the mistake. You're corny. You're corny. Bad.
Okay, here's...
Oh, God. You do not tell me you're sympathizing.
I don't think he should have been suspended, so I don't agree with... But, okay, the whole reaction to it, like, just go play the damn games. Like, the whole 4's up, everybody line up. Like, this is, follow the leader. Yes, that was absolutely
there's still rules. Really there's still rules, or there were still rules at the time.
He bought a kid a cheeseburger, and he was watching.
He shouldn't have been with them. FaceTime. He shouldn't been it's a no contact. And right now, there's no rules. Cool, we get that. At 2020, there were rules. Happens. You broke the rules.
Soft.
You broke the rules.
My first thought from the weekend. I was yelling at my TV, Sean. Oh, sure. I was so upset. So anyone who watched Louisville, Georgia Tech, that was actually a really fun football game. I didn't really think Brent Key was a very good coach coming into this game. And now I hate Brent Key. I'm all out on Brent Key. Georgia Tech fans gave me a lot of shit because I criticized that hire. I don't like your head coach. He can go screw. You want to know why I'm saying that, Sean?
Why?
Louisville was getting their asses handed to them by Georgia Tech, and I bet Louisville -7.5 on this game. And you know what Louisville did? They came back and they went up by 1, and there was about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. There was the perfect opportunity and just enough time for them to score a touchdown to be up exactly 8 points. And you know what happened? They got the ball back, and they scored a long touchdown to go up exactly 8 points, meaning my bet was going to hit. And then they stopped Georgia Tech on downs. They get the ball back. And with an opportunity with 3 minutes to go, run the clock out. They don't. They get stopped on 3rd and short. They kick a field goal. They're up by 11 points. Brent Key, with 2 minutes left and no need to score a touchdown, marches down the field and scores a touchdown. They didn't win the game. That touchdown wasn't meant to win the game. I was so goddamn mad, Sean, that this happened. It is nothing pisses me off more than unnecessary touchdowns that mean nothing, and my bets don't hit.
I feel you, and I've been there, and I've lived it. But you gotta, and I gotta check myself sometimes. You just gotta check yourself and remember. The coaches don't care about the cover. You gotta remember.
Give a shit.
Well, I know, and they give less of a shit. They care even less about you not caring. It's how the game. You got to chalk it up to the game because I've been chalking it up to the game. And if this was me, I'm getting carved up by you because Sean's bet didn't hit, and I've gotten hit with that a lot. And it makes me happy knowing that we're now simpatico with our feelings, and that you're now finally becoming a little bit to the D-Gen side. This is the passion I need from sports betting Joe DeLeone. I like when Joe curses me out over text because he took a bet that I liked and it didn't hit. I love that. I love that feeling. because I never take any of Joe's bets ever.
You did that. Well, you should have, because I went.
You did go 3 for 3.
I was 6 for 11, and I was 3 for 3. And we're going to talk about that in a quick second. I did do pretty well on my bets, but that pissed me off. What's the second thought from the weekend?
Second thought for the weekend. I mean, Baylor, what the hell? I'm not as angry about it as Joe is. But they lost to Texas State, who was bad last year.
Hey, man, respect GJ Kinney, dude. You watched them all year last year, man.
I gotcha. But Baylor and Dave Aranda are a bunch of weirdos sitting in Texas with no identity. And sometimes they know how to play football really well, and sometimes they don't. And you never know when it's going to be. You never know when the mean green defense is going to go out there and play hard as hell. And look at these guys that we just – look at – who is it? Jalen Petre? Oh, you're going to be one of the best safeties in the nation. Nobody knew about you, and now you are, because we're Baylor, and I'm Dave Aranda, and I'm a genius, and I'm weird, and I can tap into players like nobody else can. I'm Dave Aranda. Cool. Can you beat Dave Aranda, the normal person that knows how to score points and beat teams that you should beat? No, I can't do that. I'm Dave Aranda. I got a weird head, and I don't talk very well in press conferences. Okay, Dave. All I'm asking you to do, Mr. Aranda, is beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Can you do that? I just can't do that for you. I'm Dave Aranda. I won't do it, and I'm going to make you hate this team. I do.
Start betting on GJ Kinney, man.
Texas Tech is just, they should not. And they didn't even beat them close. It was an ugly beatdown for Baylor.
They beat the hell out of them. That was a fun game. I'm excited about that.
How does that happen? Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
I was relaxed, and now I started thinking about it more and more, and I'm starting.
All right. My second takeaway from the week. I was didn't watch the whole game, but I'm juiced up, man. The team of Italian Americans from New Jersey is back. Rutgers is back with their win over Northwestern. Not only did they beat Northwestern, they kicked the shit out of them. And I also might have bet on Rutgers to cover that 5.5 point. They covered it by like a whole 20 plus. That was a beatdown. I don't want to hear it that Northwestern's going to be really bad this year. Just we're going to move past that. They're going to make a run in the Big Ten, Sean. You watch. They're going to make that run in the Big Ten. Put some respect on Rutgers.
Anyone need a
Rutgers
drink?
being back is important.
Anyone need some
it's
water?
important for college
I'm
football.
going to get a drink. I'm going to take a beat. What do you think you are? What do you think you are saying something like that? Compromising the integrity of this show.
What do you mean compromising the integrity of this show? I support my teams.
You didn't know who St. Peter's was until they were going deep in the play in college basketball.
That is BS. It's down the road from me. It's 20 minutes away from where I grew up.
You got me fired up. You maybe knock over MF Narduzzi behind me, okay? I had to re-erect him. You didn't. And all I know about
MF2 mask, by the way, I didn't realize that's what that was.
Look, I don't agree with you. I'm happy you're finally starting to take some hometown pride in Rutgers University, because I didn't hear it for about 6 years.
Because they were bad.
Congrats on beating the most dysfunctional offseason team in the NCAA this year. Congrats.
That's a 9-win football team. That's a 9-win football team. Rutgers. That's a 9-win football team. You watch.
Don't make me do it. Don't make me.
Sean, let's wrap. Don't pull up your schedule. Not unimportant.
You can't say that.
A quick recount of success on betting picks. Right now, actually, here are the picks that we had last week. My Utah -6.5 hit. My Miami versus Miami of Ohio -16.5. That one hit. And Stanford -3.5. Benjamin Yursek lit up Hawaii. Give me that one. Your bets, on the other hand, 46.5. Over for NC State, UConn. Oh, no, wait. You took the over.
Did I really?
Yeah, I thought you took the under. That didn't hit.
I bet on the under in real life. Why did I? I'm weird.
That didn't hit. I wrote you down wrong. You're.
Wait, no. We got to check the tape on that. I might have taken the under. You might have written. Oh, did I tape? Did I?
You wrote that. You wrote that down.
I got to check the tape here. We might have an amendment.
Wait. I need to double check this.
An amendment.
UConn, NC State. The score was
It was like
24
Yeah.
14, so that's only 38 points. Yeah, I misread that. I was off of what you told me
I
that you
was
took it in
certain that I
person.
took the under. Yeah, I
I
know. If I
can't believe
wrote
you
it
wrote
down
that
and I
down.
went on there and did that,
Wow.
that's goofball behavior. I don't know. All right, whatever. I'll check the tape, and we might have an amendum or addendum.
Okay. Tennessee minus 28 versus UVA. You hit on
Yeah,
that.
that's smashed. Way to talk trash to me on Twitter in the first quarter, Joe. Way to go.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then ODU plus 16 versus Virginia Tech.
Virginia
That
Tech.
did not hit. That was a mistake. Why?
What are you gonna do?
So I'm 4-2. You're 2-4.
Here's the deal. Rutgers isn't getting 9 wins. They're 2-0 right now.
Don't go backwards.
They'll beat Temple 3-0. They'll beat Virginia Tech 4-0. They're not beating Michigan 4-1. Beat Wagner 5-1. Lose to Wisconsin 5-2. Lose to Michigan State 5-3.
They're beating Michigan State. Come on, Michigan State.
I'll give them. Okay, well, you get one win between Michigan State and Indiana, so you're either going to be 5-2.
All right, they're going to beat Indiana.
Yeah. 5 or all right. So what are you, 6-2, whatever it is? Lose to Ohio State 6-3. Lose to Iowa 6-4. Lose to Penn State 6-5. Maybe beat Maryland. Maybe beat Maryland.
7-5. That's a 9-win football team.
That's not a 9-win football team, Joseph. That's not how it works.
I am just so excited at the thought of a 6-3 Rutgers team. That team's ranked. A 6-3 Rutgers team? Are you kidding me?
I'll bet you $5,000 right now that Rutgers does not get 9 wins this year.
Deal.
Actually,
wait.
Do I have
$5,000?
Yes.
Oh,
Straight
no,
up.
I'm not taking that.
Okay,
I'm not taking
sure.
it back. All right, that's going to be it from us at Joe DeLeone at Sanderson Radio, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with more. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.